Alright, what is going on, guys? Today I just wanted to make a video talking about a couple things that I don't like about my 2006 Nissan 350Z. So I've had this car for about a year and a half now. It was my first sports car and it's also my first manual car. So obviously it was really exciting to get it back when I did, and it's given me a lot of enjoyment, and I've gotten a lot better driving manual with it. So overall it is a really fun car to drive. Definitely recommend it as a first sports car, but just like with any other car, there are definitely some things that could be a lot better with it. This first gripe that I have is really common to pretty much all 350Zs. I've seen some with really low miles, like 10,000 or less, and they all have this problem. And it's the paint chipping on a lot of the interior parts. Now, obviously, on this car, the interior quality overall is not good. You know, there's cheap plastic everywhere. It doesn't feel good. That doesn't really bother me. What does bother me is when it looks like junk, which is exactly what happens when this, you can see there's paint chipping here. It's not as bad on the passenger door handle, but like you can see on the driver's side door handle. Obviously, there's ways to fix this. You know, you can buy aftermarket parts that won't chip. You can repaint them, stuff like that. But that stuff does cost time and money, and at the end of the day, it really is not going to increase the resale value on the car much, in my opinion. So unless you're really going to keep this car for a long time, it's really not worth it, to me at least. So second is the fact that Boltons with this car, really, it doesn't do that much. I've done research in the forums. I've seen what people get in terms of power gains from doing full Boltons. That's, headers, high flow catalytic converters, a catback, full cold air intake, and also some engine work like plenums and spacers, stuff like that. And with the amount of money that you put in for all those parts, plus the installation, or if you do it yourself, the time, it's really not worth it just to gain, maybe 30 horsepower. If you want more power from these cars, you really have to boost them either with a supercharger or a turbocharger, and then obviously Boltons can make a big difference. Some people might not really mind that, but from my perspective, I can't really afford to be dropping like $5,000, $6,000 on a full turbo or supercharger kit at once. Obviously, if you split that up and you do like 6 $1,000 increments, then that's a lot more doable over the course of like maybe a year. Which is why I prefer to do Boltons, and that's why I really wish this car would make more power from Boltons so that I could do it, one part at a time and not have to drop that much money at once. So number 3 is the lack of low-end torque from the engine, and just, I guess, the lack of torque in general. If you really want to get the full power from this car and get thrown back in your seat, you really have to wring it out all throughout the RPMs and bring it to the red line, which gets kind of annoying sometimes, especially when you're driving from stoplight to stoplight and you're not on back roads and stuff like that. It's kind of hard to harness the power, and like I said, the only real way to fix that is to boost it. Boltons are really not going to give you that much. Number 4 is the fact that this car for a 2-seater is actually pretty heavy. Now, mine being a convertible, it weighs 3,600 pounds. The regular coupe, the hardtop, actually weighs 3,300. Obviously, I chose to get the convertible, so I can't complain about that 300-pound difference. If I wanted the lighter car, I could have gotten the coupe. I think if Nissan could have kept this car around 3,000, 3,100 pounds, this car would have been a much better performer. The performance on it is obviously still pretty good by today's standards, but it would have been an even better handler and obviously better acceleration too. And the 5th and final one is that this transmission is really notchy, and it just feels very strange at times, especially at cold temperatures. Obviously, there's ways that you can remedy that with aftermarket shifters and aftermarket shift fluid, but overall, it's just not a very smooth shift. Occasionally, it'll even grind the gears. Like I said, this really only happens at cold temperatures, but overall, the transmission is definitely not a strong point of this car. Alright guys, so there you have it. Those are probably the 5 biggest things that I dislike about this car. But with all that being said, this car was an awesome first sports car. Learned a lot about driving dynamics and got a lot better at driving manual with this car. And it still is giving me a good amount of driving enjoyment a year and a half later. With that being said, however, I am somewhat thinking of trying to flip this car for something a little bit quicker and faster. I'm not going to give away too much in this video. I'm probably going to make a video in the future discussing that. But that swap would not come anytime soon. It would probably be in the spring, just because I wouldn't be able to get rid of this car right now with the winter coming up and it being a soft top. So I'd have to wait till the spring to sell this car. But anyways, guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next video.